Got an old target out there that already has some 30 caliber holes on it. Got one round up the spout. So let's just see, we'll go for the bottom left. Hello everyone, Ron Spomer with an interesting rifle I'd like to talk about today. This is chambered for a cartridge I've been talking about a bit lately. We did a video on it, 6.5 by 284 Norma. This about 15 years ago or so was what I thought might be the new ultimate 6.5 deer hunting cartridge. It really has everything you need for that job, but it died out once the Creedmoor came online and now the 6 PRC, so it's probably going bye-bye. But in the meantime, I have got a rifle here that's chambered for it, and I want to show you how that all works. If you want to learn more about the 6.5 284 cartridge, check out my YouTube video on that. Now, this is a Blaser made in Germany, Blaser 93. They came out with this rifle in 1993. And it is unique because it is a swap-out modular rifle system. The barrels come out and swap around, the bolts come out, the bolt heads come out, the magazine boxes. You can pretty much tailor this rifle to shoot anything. And they make all kinds of barrels for this. Now, they no longer make it. They stopped around 2016, 2017. But it is a unique rifle design we want to cover. You might find some used ones. Don't be afraid of them because they are a great push feed and non-turn bolt straight pull rifle. There's been a lot of noise lately about Savage's new straight pull. This is a straight pull that's been around since '93. So let's just see how it works. All right, we're going to do a little shooting here. I'm going to put my Tetra hearing assist in. This will cover up about 20-25 decibels of the sound. But to really protect my ears, I'm going double. I'm going under. Now, as I mentioned, I haven't shot this in probably 15 years. Can't really recall, so I don't know what it's zeroed for. Got an old target out there that already has some 30 caliber holes on it. Got one round up the spout. So let's just see, we'll go for the bottom left. Mild shooter. Wow, straight up about 2 inches. Nice. Like that. I didn't bother running the chronograph. Just wanted to show you how this thing shoots. Now this is a hunting scope, so it's got a pretty good sized center dot. I might not be able to aim it real precisely. Boy, that's just one right on top of the other right there. This is a 130 grain Modular AccuBond. And I think this is what I used to take a deer on my last hunt with this. Boy, they're just all in a line right there, probably a ½ inch to an inch group. Pretty nice stuff. That's what I like about this. It's just a sweet little hunting rifle. Barrel's getting just a little bit warm. Let's try another load here. Let's say if I were going to go elk hunting with this, I'd want a 140 grain partition. Pretty good option. Warm barrel, but we will now go to the target just in the upper left, right above that last one. That one looks like it's a little bit higher out of the black. Windage is about the same. That one's about an inch under it. I don't think the elk would much appreciate this rifle. Now, I've taken elk with 140 grain bullets before, no problem. Yeah, right in there. Not as good as that first load, but then again, an elk is not as small as a deer. a whitetail at any rate. And I'm shooting a hot barrel at this point. So we're gonna let this baby cool and then we'll come back and shoot. The last one is this 120 grain bullet. That's in this custom load right here. And 120 is supposed to be going 3,000 feet per second. The 130 was ranked at 2,900. And Norma is claiming this one at 28 what? Oh, goody. They're giving me the velocities in meters. 900 meters per second. You guys are going to have to convert that one. Hey, we'll give it a rest and be right back. All right, let's try some 130 grains. I cheated. I rubbed some snow on the barrel. I got some frozen snow down here, and man, that cooled it in a hurry. Of course, I will have to oil the external parts that I got wet, but that's so easy to do with this thing. Just 2 screws turned off and you're ready. Take that barrel off and dry it out really nicely. I'm going to go for the lower right now. There's one hole in it. Yeah, I wonder if I just, yeah. Ooh, that helped a whole bunch. Didn't look that fuzzy the first time. Guess it's because the light's going down. Just above the black and off on the right again. Same as those last loads. Looks like it's about an inch again. I would say that this thing is probably preferring that 130 grain load, which is not a bad option for deer hunting. Yep, here's the first load was the best, but I wouldn't hesitate to use any of these. Gosh, I know this rifle's so much fun to shoot. I've got some dies up there. I might just start loading for it and see what else I can come up with, but sweet rifle, R93 Blaser. Well, not too bad. Our first group right here with the 130 grain bullets. This one went a little bit high, but again, my center dot was covering this entire circle. It was a little bit tough to balance it just perfectly, but man, I'm telling you, for a hunting load, that is not bad at all. Actually got a little bit better here. These were holes that were already in the target, but that's a nice little 1-inch group right there. That was with the 140 grain bullet, and here's the 120. Some reason pulled that one out just a smidgen, but boy, pretty consistent all the way around for elevation on all of them. 100 yards, pretty nice little hunting rifle. First of all, I want to point out that the quickest thing I can for Modular is the scope coming off with these quick release mounts right here. You see these little levers on the side of the scope. I pop those open, push them up, and just that easily the scope comes off. And look at here. There are grooves mounted inside or on top of the barrel itself. So the scope is always sighted for its particular barrel. It's not on the action, so you're going to swap barrels and have things change. You keep the scope on the barrel and you swap them back and forth, or you take it off and you put it back on and it's back on sight. So that is pretty nifty. Now, we've got this open so I can show you how things work without the scope being in the way. First of all, I want to show you the safety, which isn't really a safety. This is actually the cocking device. So it's a little harder to move than a safety would be, but when you have it back like this, the rifle's not just safe because the trigger or the striker are blocked. It's not even cocked. This is a cocking device. So the gun is currently empty. I've checked it many times. We're perfectly safe. I close the action. You think you're ready to shoot us? Won't go. Pretty obviously, it's not cocked. Pretty nice. So shove forward. It is now cocked. You've got a red mark right here showing that. And when I pull the trigger, it would have fired. So the neat thing about it is it's safe. You cock, you fire. Look how quickly you can run that thing. It is really fast, but it's so accurate you don't really need to be fast. One shot and you're usually done. Unless you're hunting multiples like feral hogs. Be a great rifle for that. So now let's look at this unique bolt system. It rides on its own rails, and they look pretty fragile, but they aren't. Those two steel rails right there are riding inside of the aluminum receiver rails down here. And it's really slick and smooth and straight. There's no binding with this at all. And it's remarkably strong. I always thought when I looked at it that it would bind because those things look pretty flimsy. Not a chance. It is just smooth and reliable every time. Now, the lockup system is really unique. Coming close on this one, I'm going to show you there are no lugs. Where are the 2 lugs sticking out? Or the 3 lugs that lock the action? You don't have any. But these are the lugs. They look like little split fingers on the back of the bolt head. And when I push on that bolt head as if you were chambering around and locking it in, look what happens with those fingers. You see how they expand? That's your lockup. And it's 360 degrees. Every one of those is locking up in a channel inside of the barrel. And that is really sweet because everything stays perfectly in line. You don't have to worry about an imbalance between the locking lugs, one to the other or 3 of them. Everything is 360 degrees for a radial lockup. And strength, yes, because not only do you get the pressure opening those fingers and locking them in this way with the chambering, but once you fire, any back thrust coming back on that only increases that push against those fingers, and it locks them in even tighter. Pretty nifty system, I think. Now you can change out the head on this if you go to a larger diameter rim on a cartridge. Say you're going from a 223 to a 243, or from a 243 up to a belted magnum like a 7-rem mag or something. Get different head sizes. Easily pops off and swaps out. So you've got the magazine box inside. That also comes out, so you can go from a short action to a long action and accommodate different cartridges that way. Pretty nifty. Now what about the barrel? To get this barrel off, there are 2 nuts captured inside of the stock. And obviously it's a synthetic stock. And obviously I've got to use the short end of this baby so I can get some leverage. They actually include a tool with this. It's a T-handle Allen wrench, but it's just your standard head size Allen wrenches. So you loosen one nut up, and then you loosen the other nut, and they are not going to fall out because they're captured. Come on, buddy, get in there. Here we go. All right, I feel the barrel loosening up now. Should pop off. There it is. So the nuts were obviously around these threaded posts hanging off the bottom of the barrel. And they fit inside the synthetic stock through those holes, and look what's in the middle right here. That is your recoil lug. The recoil lug is not attached to the barrel or not sandwiched between the barrel and the action like on a lot of American-style rifles. It's inside of the stock, permanently mounted right there, and it mates up to this groove right here on the bottom chamber area of the barrel. So it's a very repeatable, solid lockup. And you can see you've got a good bedding platform right underneath here for that area, and the rest of the barrel can float. So you've got a floating barrel, you've got a repeatable solid lockup every time. And I have found that the tensions aren't even all that critical. Whether I tighten this down to 15-inch pounds or 40 or 45 or whatever, doesn't really seem to matter. It is consistent. And part of the reason is because I think that bolt is locking up inside of the barrel, not the front receiver ring. So that's how the system works. This rifle is no longer made. They tweaked it a little bit and came out with one called the R8 in 2008. And that one's a little beefier. And they sharpened the angles a little bit on those locking lugs. So it's a little more sharp angle on them for an even more solid lockup. But boy, if you come across one of these R93s in the used market, you might want to take a look, because I think it's just a great option, especially if you like the idea of a switch barrel system. The barrels are not all that super inexpensive, But by golly, if you are going, say, travel hunting and you just want to take along 3 different rifles, that's a lot of weight to carry around, and then you have to pay extra import taxes and whatnot in different countries. With 1 rifle and 2 or 3 barrels, you've got it all in one handy package. And it's, as you can see, pretty quick to change that thing out and then mount your scopes back on. You can, of course, get barrels, I think, that had open sights on. There were all sorts of options. I do not know if Blaser still makes barrels for these, but I would bet they do. The new R8 is pretty similar to this system, so this one's obviously got the synthetic stock on it with the overmolded grips. I don't know if they were a Hogue or something else, but I just think it's a very well-made rifle, and I found it to be extremely accurate. We're going to do some shooting out here to show you just what it'll do. As you can see, I've got some pretty old ammo boxes here that suggest I haven't worked with this for 15 years, so we'll find out it's even close to being sighted in, but I think we should be able to shoot some pretty nice groups with it. So that is the R93, no longer made. They stopped production in about 2016, 2017, and then went strictly with that R8. But boy, if you can find a used one, you might get a good deal. Don't be afraid of it. Straight pull action. They're slick and fast, and this one's accurate. Hey, I'm Ron Spomer. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up. We sure appreciate it, guys. Till next time, hunt honest and shoot straight.